Hey everybody, welcome to Church History for Chumps. My name is John Simon, and I'm here with the most venerable Taylor Treadway.
And I'm here with the even more venerable John Simon.
Oh, that's nice, man. And hey, this episode is sponsored by. Do you want to introduce the sponsor, bro?
Well, yeah, because I'm just saying, I travel a lot for
all the time, constantly traveling.
Work. I'm just always on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm heading to Ohio.
Okay.
Specifically, a little place called Chillicothe, Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's 45 miles south of Columbus, correct?
45 miles south of. And I need some new clothes.
Yeah.
I'm bald, so I'm gonna need some beard
plugs.
trimming.
Oh yeah.
And I'd like to get a new tattoo. Do you know,
dude,
where I could go for all three of those things?
Dude, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but you need to go to the Captivating Collective in Chillicothe. It's actually the sponsor of this episode, and it's where hair, tattoo, and fashion converge into one rad place. It's literally got like a 4.7 on Yelp. It's amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
And I heard that the owner has incredible taste in podcasts.
I've heard that too.
Man, what a blessing. Yeah, dude, tell me how you like it. I'm sure you're gonna love it.
I will. So shout out. Thank you for the sponsorship.
Yeah, thank you.
So we actually have a few shout outs.
We do, yeah. So we've got a whole new perk system we just started for Buy Me a Coffee. We're going to explain that in a second, but we have to shout out some of our supporters. Of course, Serena, thank you so much. Thank you for being our first honorary sponsorship. That was a lot of fun. We'll do that for lots of things. Thank you, our good friend Brian. As always, you guys, you've been such an awesome supporter. And Thomas, I know you're not listening to this, but Brian wishes you all love. Also, I wish I could text him, but I can't, so he has to find out through listening. Also, our good buddy Isaac, thank you for I could tell you've been really digging the show lately, and we appreciate that. And he's actually got he's going to be picking the next Chump Talk episode, which is really exciting, so I'm stoked for that.
John and I haven't talked about this, so this is live.
Yeah, we're improvising.
That's gonna fill up really quick, I think.
We'll see.
And that price is gonna have to listen. All I'm saying, listeners, is if you want to pick a Chump Talk topic, you better probably get in line, and because that price is probably gonna have to go up real soon.
And then, of course, we have to shout out Mr. and Mrs. Treadway, and of course the dogs Gus and Dory. So thank you guys for
shout out
supporting.
Gus and Dory. They're real cute.
I believe it. Those are good names. Those are not names I would associate with an ugly dog. So that's good.
That's right.
Yeah. So we've got this new perk system. We'll explain it real quick, and then we'll kind of get to business as usual for the show. So essentially, and again, all these are one-time gifts because you know how we feel about subscriptions. I think it's actually not my favorite. People forget about subscriptions, and before you know it, you've earned $2,000 from a poor grandma who doesn't know how subscriptions work. So if you give us anywhere from $5 to $19, you get a shout out, you get a haiku, all the classic stuff. If you give us a $20 to $35 one-time gift, you get to sponsor an episode, which means that we will introduce our episode by saying this episode is sponsored by, and you fill in the blank. We'll shout out your church, your dog, your girlfriend. We'll propose to your girlfriend for you. How awesome would that be? I've heard they do that sometimes. We'll shout out your business, just whatever. Just don't make it weird, and we'll maybe have to talk about it. And then for a 50-time or above gift, you get to become an executive producer for a Chump Talk episode. That means that you get to work with us on actually picking an episode of Chump Talk for us to talk about. We've already got the one for April in the books, you guys. They're filling up fast. And Taylor's right.
We'll see. I mean, I think after 4 or 5 months get planned out, it's just going to be
yeah, maybe we just have to do Chump Talk more often. Which,
that's true.
I mean, if they're paying for themselves, that wouldn't be so bad, honestly.
Hey,
we'll see. Anyways, enough of that shop talk, boring.
Thank you
perks,
for the support.
Whatever. Yeah, always. Thank you guys for the support. We really love you guys. And also, thank you to Enoch, who gave us this great idea in the comments for the last episode. Because, you can take a man to fish, but if you don't teach him how to fish, and he taught us how to fish, which I really appreciate. He didn't give us a fish, but he gave us a fishing rod. You feel me, Taylor? Was that a Baptist enough thing?
I don't think it was
fish.
Baptist.
Freedom.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's Baptist.
Finesse. All right, that's
Yeah.
enough. That's enough. Um,
Well, yes, and thank you guys for being kind to my friend Tyler. So that was
yeah,
great.
that was a
Probably
fun
have
episode.
probably have him back. Apparently, John's just been like deeply reflecting on Baptist origins
I'm
on these.
just chewing on it, man. You never know. I mean, I don't know what my future will look like in terms of baptistry. We're just leaving that up to the Lord.
I
So
love
I
it.
don't know. But I don't think I'll
Love
ever
it.
be, I don't know. I'll never get to go to a Coptic Orthodox church and convert myself there. I don't think that's ever going to be in the stars
All
for
right, we'll
me.
see him in heaven.
That's right. Yeah. Not on earth, though.
So today is Easter. So you guys are hearing this 2 days after Easter.
Right.
So what'd you do for Easter, John?
Went to church. Yeah. Went to church. Hung out with my family. Hung out with my wife's family. Took a nap. Chilled. Yeah.
You did
Nothing
all of
really.
that?
Yeah, dude, it was pretty. I mean, church was early. I mean, well, I'm not working at church, so you've got all kinds of stuff to do. What did you have to do?
I mean, I got there early and had band practice, and then we had, pre-worship time, and then we had worship service, and then we had post-worship time.
What is post worship time?
It's just more coffee and donuts.
Oh, that's kind of nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we had Bible study, and then I got in a car and we drove to go be with Brandy's family
Mm-hmm.
and celebrate Easter, and that was fun. House full of little children's, all the different little cousins running around.
Nice. Yeah.
So it was
I I think I am starting to really grow in I'll say this. All the people who clicked on our episode already know what we're going to be talking about, but I think the research that I did for this episode, I hope the same is true for your end of research too. It actually made me really appreciate Easter. I think Easter is one of those days where I can just be like, oh yeah, whatever, every year, big deal. But I think today I was like, no, this is pretty sweet. This is actually awesome.
my dude. You told me to research the Easter bunny.
Okay,
You had this like deep liturgical homework where you're like literally having like time with Jesus during your podcast research, and I'm just like poring over like this
here
stupid
comes Peter
Latin.
Cottontail.
Yeah, I have a stupid Latin pamphlet that I found that's just like some guy from 17th century talking about how eating too much eggs kills you, and then there was an Easter bunny reference.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't
mine
wait.
did not lead to some sort of reverent appreciation for a liturgical holiday.
It didn't create this spirit of worship for you. I'm really sorry about that.
I'm so surprised. Like, I was like, do I play along or do I just call him out for what he just said?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, you put my half on me because you didn't want to get into all the calendar stuff.
That's true.
Which,
Let's
to be
just jump
fair,
in.
let's
So
do it. Let's do it.
essentially what happened was, welcome to all the people that skipped the banter.
Welcome.
Welcome. So what had happened was, we're talking about, okay, what can we do during our break? We're kind of enjoying a break from the Crusades.
A little bit. Yeah.
A lot less genocide and jihad. Anyway, I was like, well, we had fun doing kind of that history of Christmas episode. I was like, what if we did like a history of Easter? But then we remembered, like, we have read it's very complicated, the Easter calendar. And I actually I told John, because I'm like neck deep in homework and work right now. I was like, I don't have time or the brain computation power to wrap my mind around what John's about to walk us through. So I'm impressed if he can land this plane.
I'm gonna try, dude, and try not to crash into the side of the mountaintop here. But
yeah, so you'll have the nice one, and then in the second half, I've got a handful of little fun little history of some random little Easter stuff.
Yeah, little Easter eggs, if you will.
I have little Easter eggs. That's right.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm gonna kind of cover. So I think as I was doing this, one of the questions that I kind of wanted to answer, and this is really for all you calendar heads out there, is what is the deal with the relationship between Easter and Passover, and why are Western churches always celebrating Easter on different days than the Eastern church. And
Oh,
I
and it
can
spans like a massive gap, right? Like sometimes Easter's in March and sometimes it's in like late April.
Yeah, like it's usually a couple weeks. It's not super long, but
No, I
yeah,
don't
there's
know.
some
See, I don't know.
I was like, yeah, I mean, massive.
Just
I
tell
don't
me when I'm
know.
wrong. Just tell me when I'm
I'm sorry. I'm not good at that. But yeah, so really, yeah. So where we're gonna start is the question of, uh, how does Easter start as a celebration in the church? And yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. So not a lot of the early church fathers talked a ton about Easter in the beginning. So, really, the best way to start talking about Easter is actually to start talking about the Lord's Day, because that is the original, like, OG, not just holiday, holy day that Christians across the board were referring to and were living by. It was every Sunday. It was a time and an event of gathering, of worshiping, of practicing the sacraments or ordinances for the Baptists out there.
they did not have that word back then. It's okay.
Just trying to be ecumenical.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, so way back, I mean, like, literally we can go back to the Didache, which is an episode that we did a while ago. You can definitely go back and find that one.
I
But the
wasn't
did
on it. It's not very good.
Don't say, they won't listen to it. They won't listen to it. But that was one of the oldest texts from church history that kind of just shares some basic principles about Christianity, and it talks about the Lord's Day. And there's a quote from it that I'll read that says, "But every Lord's Day, gather yourselves together and break bread and give thanksgiving after having confessed your transgressions, that your sacrifice may be pure." So we already get a sense that, like, from the very beginning, Christians had a very routine habit of gathering, of breaking bread, which we assume is either the love feast or communion, giving thanks and having confess. So it's confession, there's prayer, and then, of course, there's the practicing of the Eucharist. So these things that, and I can almost guarantee that the majority of churches, of every person listening to this show, if you're a person who goes to church, will probably have most of these elements when it comes to gathering, praying, confessing. Maybe you do the Eucharist weekly, maybe not so much. So later on in the first century, churches will start operating by a loose schedule of kind of recurring things that will gradually kind of evolve into what's called the church calendar. And for those who, are from more liturgical, kind of high church traditions, this is where the feast days are going to kick in. This is when the more like strict fast times are coming in. If you're a Baptist like me, don't worry, they're not real. It's okay.
It's not real.
They were never real. According to church historian Justo Gonzalez, he says, quote, "Every Sunday was a sort of Easter and a day of joy, and every Friday was a day of penance, fasting, and sorrow. Rather early, for reasons that are not altogether clear, Wednesday also became a day of fasting. There was also a very special Sunday once a year, the day of resurrection, the greatest of Christian celebrations," which of course would become Easter. And so we don't exactly know when Christians started celebrating Easter. I would argue it was probably pretty darn close. And I think the best reason for that is because Christians inherited a lot of customs from the Jews, and through not just the Old Testament practice of Passover, but from the New Testament texts about Passover, we knew that Passover had this fulfilled kind of typological significance in Christ. So I think it would actually be more difficult to argue that Christians, especially that were largely Jewish in their earliest iterations, didn't continue Passover in some regard that would turn into Easter. But it's basically the celebration of of the
I
Lord's
mean, and
Day.
remember, the early Christians knew where the tomb was, and that's why to this day, like, we have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Exactly.
So they knew, and there's record of them gathering there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we were just talking in Sunday school today about how Sabbath is on a Saturday.
Mhm.
And so, like, Christians literally moved the day of worship.
Right, because of the day of the resurrection,
Yes.
which is so cool because like, that shows that in belief and in practice, the resurrection has always been the center of Christian worship, like, across the board, across all traditions, that's such a big deal. Unless you're a Seventh-day Adventist, which what's the deal,
Welcome.
guys? Welcome. Thanks for listening. So another cool thing about Easter was that Easter was actually a pretty sweet day because for a lot of the early churches, Easter was the day that would host all of the baptisms. And so
Oh,
when
that's
new believers would
right.
come around, uh they would usually save like all of, and they do these like mass baptisms on the Sunday of Easter to kind of like, kind of build up the celebration. I've got this quote from Church Father Justin Martyr where he says, once those who have believed have been washed and joined us, we take them to where those who are called brothers and sisters are gathered in order to offer fervent prayers for ourselves, for the recently illumined, and for all others all over the world. Then there is the kiss of peace. The president, the presiding one, is given bread and a cup of wine and water, and the Eucharist is celebrated. So back to our guy Gonzalez, he believes that this is a big reason for the establishment of Lent, because since Easter was such an important day, since it was not just this day of mass baptisms, but it was obviously the celebration of the Eucharist, this moment of like prayer and intercession. The kind of logic was, well, if this day is going to be so important, then we need to spend some time praying and fasting in preparation for this day. So that's kind of where
You,
Lent came
you know,
from.
one of the biggest takeaways from that Justin Martyr quote
Hmm.
is how does he refer to the church to where the brothers and sisters are gathered?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, so up until right now, if I saw on like a church's like was the little bulletin or something or on the
Yeah.
website, if they call their service the gathering, my eyes roll like so far back into my head. And now I'm like, wait a second.
But hold on. Yeah.
That's like so early church.
I know.
Oh
Yeah.
no. And
It's
then
a
here I
callback.
am thinking, judging them for being hipster. Oh
Both things can
man.
be true, though,
Ooh,
unfortunately.
true.
So
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you for the
you're welcome.
lifeline.
Yeah, to make you feel a little better.
Yeah.
So yeah, so also, so Easter becomes this day of the remembrance of Christ's crucifixion, because of course in the scriptures we believe that Jesus was crucified during Passover. That's the whole thing about the Last Supper and all that. Um, we also, so yeah, we Christians believe that that Easter is a continuation of the Passover event, which means that it kind of holds all of this deep, and I guess more traditions celebrate this than others, but for mine, it's like there's really this deep realization of like Passover is the celebration of God delivering his people from the oppression of slavery, and now we have this even greater Passover experience where like Christ became the sacrificial lamb so that he would pass over wrath for all of his people and begin ushering us into the promised land. That's like a really, really sick thing. So Easter, big deal. People loved
Don't
it.
drop
Awesome.
some
What?
beautiful
What?
typology and then be like, "That was sick."
It was sick. I don't
It
know.
was was beautiful or
Is
something, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was majestic, magnificent. Sorry, my speech not
Whimsical.
reverent enough for the high reverend over
Dude,
here.
I know for the guy covered in tattoos.
Yeah, you're like, show some respect. Sipping your freaking Coke Zero over there. All right, all right. So one of the first major issues that came around the celebration of Easter, and the reason why most podcasts aren't doing an episode on this, came from the question of when Easter should be celebrated. And so, yeah, it gets a little sticky. I'm gonna do my best to explain it, but honestly, if I had to answer this on an essay question for an exam, I'd
You're
probably get like an
cooked.
85. It's hard to explain.
Honestly, dude, I'll take a B over my fail. So
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna copy your homework.
Perfect. All right, let's do it. So essentially what it is there are two camps about when Easter should be celebrated. There are those that say uh, Easter is an important day of worship, and the day that we worship is the Lord's day, which is Sunday. So it should always be on Sunday. And then there are those that say Easter has to be connected with Passover because it's the fulfillment of Passover. So it should consistently be on the first day of Passover, which is the 14th of Nisan. So what you're going to have is the people who prefer a more traditional approach to celebrating Easter, and then a group that we call the Decimans, which literally just means the 14ers, because they believe it should be practiced on the 14th of Nisan. Now, both are going to offer some logistical issues, and they're also going to drum up not just logistical issues, but like some kind of cultural ones and who we do or do not want to like rub shoulders with. So bear with me. So
what this was during like Constantine era
no,
when
dude,
they
this is
were.
2nd century.
Oh, this is way
It's gonna come
before.
back, but it's
Oh,
so
okay.
there's essentially gonna be a squabble and then a ceasefire, and then Constantine through Nicaea is gonna kinda just resolve it once and for all.
Okay.
So here's essentially what it is. The problem with celebrating it consistently on the 14th of Nisan is twofold. The first problem is that the Jews don't use the same calendar as the rest of the Christians, of really the whole Roman empirical world. The Roman world at this time uses the Julian calendar, which is very similar to the one that we use now, but there's a couple of differences. But it's 365 days, leap year every 4 years, obviously based on solar, not lunar. The Jews are using a lunisolar calendar, which tracks both the movement of the sun and the phases of the moon. So the problem is that if you're going to celebrate Easter on the 14th of Nisan every year, one problem is it's going to be a completely different day every year, which is just kind of awkward to try to have to plan around. The second problem is that the way that the Jews did it was they had like professional religious lunar observers who would watch and record the different cycles of the moon. Because remember, this is pretty scientifically primitive back, and this is 1800 years ago or so. So they would have observers of the lunar cycles who would then kind of discuss and dialogue with the rabbis and basically have to decide when each day was going to be. And so the church was like, for one, it doesn't make sense that we're not celebrating Easter on a Sunday. That's literally when we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus every other day. But two, we don't want to be dependent on like having to interact with the rabbis and find out what day is the right day, because that seems like we're still kind of relying on Jewish collaboration, and that's kind of awkward. So yeah, it gets kind of complicated. So there's two things about that too. One, we don't actually know which view was the historical view, because there's not enough historical evidence to say which one the church was actually doing until this conflict happened. We don't know if the OG church was doing it one way or another. We're not actually sure. The second is that there's like solid dudes on both sides, specifically like Polycarp. So I think this is what complicates it the most. Polycarp, who was Bishop of Smyrna, he's, of course, an OG of the early church, one of the most significant martyrdom stories that you'll ever read, early church or church history anywhere. And he is a quartodeciman, and he believes that this should be practiced. And one of the tricky things is his argument when he comes to visit Rome and speaks with the Roman Pope at the time and says, and they're like, wait, hold on, you're doing Easter how over there? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, this is how I do it. And they're like, we actually think it should be this way. Polycarp's argument is essentially, oh, well, that's interesting because the guy that discipled me actually told me that I should do it this way. What was his name again? The Apostle John.
Uh-oh.
So it gets complicated, right? Which again makes sense because the Apostle John, being a disciple of Jesus, was a practicing Jew. I mean, obviously a Christian and an apostle, but he had probably learned Passover and didn't have that same type of obstinance towards rubbing shoulders with the Jews as maybe someone in Rome would. So it basically became this issue of like the Romans really wanted to celebrate it on a Sunday, and then the Eastern Church, like Asia Minor, Jerusalem, other areas were like, no, we actually want to stick to it on this
The
day.
one that's more Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
So the church that's more Jewish wants to do it the more Jewish way.
Exactly. And the Roman church is
who hates
less
the Jews.
interested.
Yeah.
Right. Who is more centralized and closer to Roman culture.
Yeah.
So I have this quote to read from our boy, the goat of primary sources, our good friend Eusebius. This is from book 5 of his church history kind of chronicles. And I love this quote because it resolves really well, but also this should be a very clear indicator that it's kind of a miracle that it took 1,000 years for the East and Western churches to split up because, well, I'll just read it here. So this is Eusebius. He says, thereupon Victor, this is the Pope at the time, thereupon Victor, who presided over the church at Rome, immediately attempted to cut off from the common unity the parishes of all Asia with the churches that agreed with them as heterodox, and he wrote letters and declared all the brethren there wholly excommunicate. But this did not please all the bishops, and they besought him to consider the things of peace and of neighborly unity and love. Words of theirs are extant, sharply rebuking Victor. Among them was Irenaeus, who, sending letters in the name of the brethren in Gaul, over whom he presided, maintained that the mystery of the resurrection of the Lord should only be observed on the Lord's day. He fittingly admonishes Victor that he should not cut off the whole churches, or he should not cut off whole churches of God, which observe the tradition of an ancient custom, and after many other words he proceeds as follows. This is Eusebius quoting Irenaeus. For the controversy is not only concerning the day, but also concerning the very manner of the fast. For some think that they should fast 1 day, others 2, yet others more. Some, moreover, count their day as consisting of 40 hours day and night, and this variety in its observance has not originated in our time, but long before in that of our ancestors. It is likely that they did not hold to strict accuracy, and thus formed a custom for their posterity according to their own simplicity and peculiar mode. Yet all of these lived none the less in peace, and we also live in peace with one another, and the disagreement in regard to the fast confirms the agreement in the faith. So Victor's basically like, these guys want to be stubborn. If they're not willing to celebrate Easter at the correct time, we're going to just cut them off. And fortunately, praise God, a number of bishops in the West, including Irenaeus, were like, that's a terrible idea. And Irenaeus is basically like, they're following the customs they were taught. Like, it's not this right.
Not even really a pope yet.
Right.
Like Pope doesn't come around until early 5th century.
Yeah, this is before Pope really carries weight. Yeah, this dude is easily a top 5 lousy Pope immediately.
Dude, you know, it makes you appreciate, like, I think we all get bogged down at like the ecclesiastical division of today. And then you like read a story like that and you're like, okay, maybe it's
That's
not
what I'm saying, dude.
It could be.
Like, they were literally willing to split immediately at something so obscure as to, like, not if they celebrate Easter, but when. Like, very frustrating. Oof. So really, really interesting story. So essentially, we kind of see the church is at a ceasefire. So as far as we know, the Eastern churches more or less maintained what they were doing, as did the Western churches. And then we're actually not going to hear back officially until the synodal letter attached to the official text of the Council of Nicaea in 325, which is probably the least important thing that is resolved in the Council of Nicaea, given all the other really important stuff.
You know, there's one guy, Bishop Dave or something, like left like, yes, they did it. Like that was his thing.
He was the one guy where it's like 4:55 p.m. on the last day of the committee, and he's like, "We actually didn't resolve. Hold on, we actually didn't resolve the
right.
Easter thing." And they're like,
"This meant a lot
God.
to one guy."
It really did.
Yeah.
And so there's just like this tiny little paragraph at the end of the council of the Nicene resolution, which says, let's see. "We also send you the good news of the settlement concerning the Holy Pasch, namely that in answer to your prayers, this question has been resolved. All the brethren in the East who have hitherto followed the Jewish practice will henceforth observe the custom of the Romans and of yourselves, and all of us who from ancient times have kept Easter together with you." So he's basically like, we're all on the same page now. We're going to do this the right way.
You know why that makes total sense that they were willing to play ball in the East? Is because the Jewish influence had watered down to nothing at that point. So they're just like, who cares?
Well, dude, you got to think like the impact of the destruction of the temple and like the great diaspora of Jewish believers. Like, Jewish believers were not nearly as centralized in the church anymore. But that's a really good point.
That makes total sense. They're they don't care to just abandon that tradition.
So, and essentially, so the funny thing that they do, so this is the resolution that they come to at Nicaea, and this is actually proposed, I believe it's proposed, maybe it was just endorsed by Emperor Constantine himself. Emperor Constantine has a letter that Eusebius quotes, which I want to quote from also, because it maybe exposes a couple of biases that existed here. He says, "For we have in our power," this is Constantine speaking, "if we abandon the Jews' custom to prolong the due observance of this ordinance to future ages by a truer order, which we have preserved from the very day of the Passion until the present time. Let us then have nothing in common with the detestable Jewish crowd, for we have received from our Savior a different way." And I didn't mention some of the harsher quotes he has, but he's basically like, why on earth would we do anything in collaboration with the Jews? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And again, it's like Constantine's a Roman emperor. When you get closer to Roman culture, you tends to lose a lot of the deference towards Judaism that early Christians had. And so, so essentially they develop a system that allows them to mathematically assert when the Passover would be by essentially aligning it not with Passover but with spring equinox. And so even now to this day, the way that you figure out when Easter is by being the first Sunday following the spring equinox, which is typically in and around March 21st. So it's kind of ironic because they're basically like, we don't want to do anything with the Jews, so we're gonna figure out a way to find out when the equinox is. And it's like, well, why is the equinox important? Oh, it's because that's when Passover is. It's like, oh, okay. You're just
but they're getting there through different steps.
That's right. They're kind of, streamlining.
They're
actually the opposite of streamlining.
The rabbis aren't doing the astronomy anymore. We are.
That's what they were looking for.
Yeah.
And then the last interesting thing that I'll share before I pass the mic over to you, Tay, is the Gregorian reform. So you guys may have noticed that I said that this was the time of the Julian calendar, which is not the calendar that we observe. So the Gregorian reform was the 16th century, which is so like, I don't know, it's kind of funny to me. It's a very interesting random little thing. So the Julian calendar was considered a year to be 365 and a quarter days long. And scientifically, the true length of a year is 365.2422 days long, which is really close, but over the span of like 1,000 years, that could make a big difference. So basically what they realized in the 16th century was they started using the Julian calendar, I think in the 1st century BC. But they were like, we've been doing this for like 1,700 years and we've been drifting off course. Why does that matter? Well, because Easter needs to be as close to equinox as possible because equinox is when Passover is. And if you just keep drifting and drifting, eventually you're going to freaking have Easter in the middle of winter, which has no Passover correlation whatsoever, which means it's not connected to Jesus' resurrection. So this is when they introduce a reform on the calendar, and they made a few minor adjustments, one of which I didn't actually know, but it's that you don't celebrate leap years on you don't celebrate a leap day on a year that's divisible by 100 unless it's also divisible by 400. So the year 1900, there was no leap year, which I did not know.
No, I'm just lost already.
Nope. So the funny thing, and this is the last funny thing I'll share, is that do you know who didn't like this change to a different calendar?
Okay, is it Martin Luther?
No, fortunately not.
Okay.
It's the Orthodox. They're like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Now we're changing up the calendars, huh?" And so the reason
mid-Reformation.
This is, yeah.
Oh, dude, they're probably already like, "What are you people doing over there?"
Yeah, they're like,
and then
"You
they're
guys,
like, do you want me to change my calendar?"
It's literally it. So that is why most of the Orthodox like feast days or significant days, like whether it's Christmas or Lent or Easter, are usually like a week or two after. It's because one, when they started the Gregorian reform, they like cut 10 days off just to kind of like catch themselves up. And the Orthodox, of course, didn't recognize it. Now, it's fair to say places like Orthodox parts of the world still follow the Gregorian calendar, but with their church rituals and festivals and stuff, they use the Julian calendar still. So that's more times than I've said calendar in a long time, especially in an episode.
Well done. So I still
yeah.
don't understand, but I feel like I would grade you. I would grade you an A+.
Honestly, man, just don't make me say it again because I don't think I could do it twice.
Dude.
Calendars are so strange.
I know. It's very confusing.
Oh my
You know
gosh.
what gets me is like, as you were saying, so they switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar for that. I was thinking about when they switched in general to the Gregorian calendar, which was like, I want to say 12th century or something. Does that sound right?
No, it was like 16th century.
That's when the Gregorian calendar is old.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look at it right now. Gregorian calendar.
Anyway, as you look it up,
1582.
How old is the Gregorian calendar?
1582.
Oh my gosh. My timeline is way off. Anyway, how did they know when January 1st was?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
That's my thought is like, how do they know when the year ends? I can't even wrap my mind around it.
It's because my flat brain is like, oh yeah, I know when it's July 1st. It's when the calendar says
It's
that.
when calendar
So
tell
what
me.
scientist was like,
dude.
This July 1st seems a little early this year.
I know. Yeah.
That's why I'm glad that the church has smarter people than the two of us to figure this out.
I know.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, I have some fun little tidbits on Easter here. As I pull my notes up, I want to give you guys a random little history dive if you want to go. So there is a letter from an Anabaptist theologian named Schwenkfeld responding to Martin Luther. So you know, I mentioned Martin Luther because in my current studies through Anabaptist history that I'm doing for that class, his name just keeps popping up. And he's just so unbelievably uncharitable to them, which he was not known for being a charitable guy. So there's this guy named Schwenkfeld who Luther accuses of being a Eutychianist and like says all these super horrible, like rough things about. And he just writes it in his little notes and sends it to a letter or somebody. Anyway, so it gets back to Schwenkfeld, and Schwenkfeld responds with the most charitable, grace-filled, theological slam dunk I've ever had the pleasure of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Like he eviscerates Luther with like a smile and like a handshake.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, if you guys, I got my notes up on Easter, but if you guys want a little deep dive into something fun, just dig into that.
Oh, that was
It's
just
good.
that was unrelated.
Yeah.
Ah, that was gonna be like, and this was when he's like, "Blessed Easter to you, Martin Luther," or something like
No, I
that.
can't find anything. I didn't look super hard into Luther's connection with Easter, but
Mhm.
there is a legend that the Easter bunny and that came from Luther.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the reason why is it does come from German folklore.
That sounds about right.
So the
Yeah.
very yeah, and then immigrants in 18th century, like German immigrants from in 18th century America brought it here. But basically this little Easter bunny is so it's just like Christmas. There's a bunch of secularists that are like, actually, that was a super pagan symbol all along. And there's not a lot of history to prove that. Um, but what I did find, I found another weird thing is that, like, apparently ancient people had considered Easter or bunnies, not Easter, bunnies, hermaphrodites, and that they could reproduce asexually.
That actually makes sense
And
because of
so
how fast they reproduce.
So so the rabbits can have babies by themselves. Do you know
Uh-huh.
who else had a baby by herself?
The Virgin Mary.
The Virgin Mary. So there's
That's the connection. That's
dude,
crazy.
it's just a theory. A food theory. No. It's so I don't know. I'm not saying that's for sure where it came from. I gave you guys some legend.
I like it
And,
though.
and
I
then
like
yes,
it.
the legend about Luther introducing it. So it's not that the Easter bunny came from a connection to the Virgin Mary, it's that rabbits were associated with Mary
Mhm.
already, like for
Right.
a long time supposedly. Now,
Which is wild. That's so strange.
I know. Just, dude, every little rock I've been on the podcast for over a year now, and I've been like in seminary, and I swear, I just like every little theological rock I look under, there's
See,
just like a black hole.
this is what's so good about the medieval church is that they were like, "Ah, something interesting. Spring equinox. We need to update the calendar. Here, Marshall, grab those charts so we can
Yeah.
recalculate the movements of the moon." And they're like, "Oh, you see those rabbits over there? Did you know they
Yeah.
don't actually have to mate with one another?
Right.
It's like they can be
Also, a
simultaneous
dragon might
geniuses."
fly over the hills at any moment
That's
and
right.
destroy us.
That's right.
Yeah.
They can like
Anyway, where are my
simultaneously
where are
be
my calculus
geniuses.
calculations? Yeah, I know.
Crazy time to be alive, dude.
I
I
know.
love it.
So the earliest mention that we have for sure historically of the Easter Bunny is from the 17th century uh little medical pamphlet. And it was written uh to where's the name? It's from Johannes Richier,
Mhm,
and it looks like it's written to George Frank, or Johannes is writing under George Frank.
mhm.
Yes. So regardless of who wrote it. No, never mind. My reading comprehension sucks. George Frank wrote it to Johannes Richier, but
Okay.
anyway, so wild way I found this. So I did some digging and I found reference to it. I found it on Archive. It
Mhm,
is only in Latin. I do not know Latin
mhm.
yet. So I literally downloaded the PDF and I said to ChatGPT, translate this. And
Yeah.
it did it.
It's from the
It did it from
17th century,
yeah,
and
living
it's
in
all
the
in Latin?
17th century. No, no.
But I thought, oh, that was a good reference.
You know
But
he like sold out SoFi Stadium.
yeah, yeah.
That's
He
crazy.
brought out Lauryn
Anyway,
Hill, dog.
I
Yeah.
know.
Should we have a
That's
chump talk where we just talk about Kanye?
nope. Unless LM pays for it.
That's fair. I think LM's probably a big Kanye fan.
Yeah,
There's our obligatory LM shout out for the
that's right.
episode.
It happens every episode. Okay. So, yeah, it's just in Latin, and so, it looks like it's dated 1682.
Interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
what did the Chat GPT overlord say?
Well, I wish I knew enough Latin to say I for sure confirmed it, but I tried to scan back and see. So anyway, here's what it says. I'm just going to read from the top. So, in various regions of Germany today, certain errors are maintained which claim the authority of antiquity. Among these may be counted Easter eggs called Osteriere. During Easter, both in rural and urban areas, eggs boiled hard are displayed, not only plain, but also dyed in various colors,
Mhm.
especially violet, red, yellow, green, decorated with figures and inscriptions. So before
Okay.
I continue on, the egg dyeing also comes from there's apparently in the East you would take the egg, like the Eastern Church was what I read, and you would dye it red
Mhm.
to symbolize like a mortal death. And
Mm.
the breaking of that shell is the shedding of your mortal coil, so to speak.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, dude, see, that's I love, like, you just add a little droplet of, like, healthy mysticism in, and, like, everything has got so much symbology. Symbology, just gave you a new word.
Those Eastern dudes, they knew what to do. Yeah, literally, I was talking to a guy at church today who was raised in the Orthodox Church, and he talked about growing up and dyeing the Easter eggs red, which I totally would
No
not think they would do
way.
100%. Yes,
All
yes.
right, sweet. I was actually worried my research on that was a little sloppy, but
Hey, anecdotal evidence, brother. We're good.
confirmed. Confirmed.
I definitely did
So,
not think that egg dyeing was something that the Orthodox guys did. So
yeah.
that's reassuring. Yeah.
So here we have it continues on. These eggs are not only given by godparents to their godchildren, but also exchanged among friends and lovers.
Hmm.
Among the Russians, according to reports, people greet one another at Easter with a kiss and a present colored eggs along with the greeting Christ is risen.
It's actually kind of sick. Yeah,
So
that's not
the eggs
bad.
are the eggs. So this is what's so interesting is when John and I were talking about what we should do for our episode, we were like, "Oh, handle the calendar, that'll be cool." And then I said, "And I'm going to figure out how those darned pagans ruined our holiday with this little Easter bunny."
Mhm.
Just wait, just wait. So, in some regions, instead of eggs, more valuable gifts, clothing, gold, silver, are exchanged. Authorities have attempted to restrain this custom with fines. Probably some Puritans, actually. He's writing about that time. Like, so
It's like
anyway.
there was a select minority who did not like this practice at all. It's like, "Oh, I wonder
Mhm.
who."
So, scholars are uncertain about the origin of this custom. Remember, the point of this pamphlet is actually the author doesn't really care about the eggs or why
Mhm.
he gets into later about the medical problems of people eating too many eggs and how they can die. That's what the point of this is. But he's just giving you a little backstory, little
Right.
taste. Okay. Jewish origin. Jews used hard boiled eggs symbolically during Passover. Okay. Pagan origin. Some connect it to ancient festivals honoring Castor and Pollux. Uh, Lent origin. During Lent, eggs were forbidden. After Easter, large
Oh,
quantities accumulated and then were consumed.
eggs were forbidden during all of Lent?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a thing for sure. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So it's in this pamphlet though that a hare, the Easter bunny, hides eggs for children.
Mhm.
So this was ChatGPT. Let me see if I can get into the actual I had it. I could have butchered the Latin. Long story short, this guy mentions a little hare, an Easter hare.
Mhm.
And this is the first historical reference to the Easter bunny we have. Obviously, when it comes to these folklore things, this thing could have been around forever and people would have been doing it. And I don't know why it got attributed to Luther. There might be a strong argument for it, but I think that could make sense.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I'm tracking with where the Easter bunny might have come from. And then just because I have to, because this is kind of funny. Now he gets into the main point of his paper, where he's talking about a monk who died after eating hard-boiled eggs, overeating, I should say. There was a young girl who got
Oh.
constipated after eating
Oh.
too many. I think she lived.
Oh, you
And
said she died.
no, I said a monk died, and then a
Oh,
young
okay.
girl got constipated,
Oh.
and then a young boy got dysentery.
Oh, gosh.
So this guy just is like hating on eggs. So he talks about the negatives of hard-boiled eggs. He says they're difficult to digest. They produce thick and unhealthily bodily humors. They burden the stomach and are harmful to those with weak digestions.
Does that hold up to today's, like,
I don't
scientific
know. I'm not a nutritionist. You're going to ask me? I don't know.
Check this out real quick.
Vomiting, if illness occurs from eating eggs, vomit, use an enema, treatment depends on symptoms. This is just the weirdest document.
Because
And
it's like meaningfully historical, but then it's
that's
also
why
like,
I
but
love,
let's get to why I'm really talking about
yeah,
this.
that's why I love history. So anyway, yeah,
Nutritionists
so
largely consider hard-boiled eggs to be one of the healthiest ways to produce or to eat protein without added fats and essential nutrients like choline, vitamin A, lutein. Yeah,
eggs are
sorry.
good for you.
I just hard-boiled eggs
Take
specifically.
that, George Frank, doctor of medicine and philosophy.
That's right.
Foolish.
Good luck keeping your certification 400 years later.
Yeah, we're coming for it. So, yeah, so essentially the Easter Bunny has been around for a very long time,
Mhm.
developed in Germany, came to America through immigrants into Pennsylvania, and now
Mhm.
you can't walk down any store aisle through the months of like February. Well, when Valentine's Day ends all the way up to Easter without seeing a giant chocolate Easter hare.
Yeah.
Isn't
It
that
is
fascinating?
it
And
is
it's still
really
a Christian
interesting.
symbol. Still a
Right.
Christian symbol.
Well, it's not unlike Santa Claus, right? Because like Santa
Yeah.
Claus is very Christian and connected with this holiday, and some people see Christmas as only a Santa Claus thing.
Oh,
Um,
I
that
did
is
forget
so
to say, so
strange.
the Easter bunny would come and give presents to good children.
Oh,
So
oh,
there
yeah,
wasn't
that sounds very German
That's very German.
folklore.
I don't know if there's like a Krampus equivalent.
Like an Easter
The
bunny,
anti-Easter bunny.
like the Easter
The
Crow
Possum
or
ha
something,
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
Easter possum.
No, I said Possum hair. I was gonna say like the
Oh.
Possum hair,
I
like
like the
the
Easter possum. He, like, scurries in through the
just like
floorboards. He just, like,
just like
steals your toys.
he just hisses at you.
Terrifying. Dude, I would be more afraid of him than of Krampus. That sounds so scary.
Dude,
This giant
yeah,
possum creeping in my house.
that's right.
Oh, man.
So, and then obviously the tradition of hiding the eggs and all that. So, I have another one. I have two more technically. We'll see if we get to both, or I'll just
Okay,
probably blitz the third one.
okay.
So, have you ever attended a sunrise service?
Maybe, like, one time. Yeah, it's not really in my circle.
It is an old tradition,
Yeah.
which is it's biblical, right?
Mhm.
Because you read the gospel accounts, like the, the angel boom shows up like
Yeah.
roughly before dawn.
Mhm.
So anyway, it's biblical, but apparently now this is an early reference to the sunrise service. Uh the Moravian church in Germany, which just can't escape Germany, man.
Yeah, that's it, man.
So you don't even know what I said. You were just typing a bunch and then
You
just hit
said you
me with a
can't escape the
soundboard.
Germans. No, I heard you. I can
Wow.
multitask.
That sounded so soundboardy. That's it, man.
Great point, Taylor.
That's right.
Well
That's
spoken.
couldn't put it better myself. Anyway, Stop clicking away. It sounds like you're writing an essay. Okay. Moravian Church in Germany. So they claim this. They have some diaries. Believe it or not, my source for this is a secondary source, and it is this month in Moravian history. It was clearly written in Microsoft Word and then saved as a PDF. It's number 18 from April 2007.
Okay, yeah.
So, and it's got a little picture of like an old engraving, and it has some sources on the bottom that are all in German. I'm willing to bet that whoever wrote this is a great historian.
You're probably
Anyway,
right.
right. I'm taking that gamble live on air. So this is him quoting the diary. This is me quoting him quoting the diary. So these are young men in 1732. We agreed among our band of young men that this Easter morning we were to go up to the Hutberg early before the rise of the sun. This happened early before 4 o'clock. After we'd spent 1.5 hours with singing, we returned to have a prayer meeting, during which we sang several hymns and read the 3rd chapter of Peter's first letter. And he continues, he says, this morning we had the nicest celebration among our graves.
Oh,
Isn't that so precious?
that's actually awesome. That's
So
super cool.
it's like back when you and I were hanging out with all the boys, and like one Easter Eve, we were like, dude, let's walk over to the cemetery and like have a
Yeah.
little Easter celebration.
No, that's so cool. I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I gotta learn more about these Moravians, dude. That might be where I lay my hat denominationally. I don't think I'll ever find a Moravian church, but
Dude, it's
I did a tiny little search as you were when I was giving you all my soundboard answers.
right.
So the sunrise service originally started as just the Easter Vigil, which was a medieval thing where they would have mass as the sun was rising. But it was, as you pointed out, the Moravians who kind of made it more of a tradition. And then in the 19th century, it kind of bled into Protestant circles and then immigrated to the States. And
So the Moravians are the first Protestants to do it.
I think they might be. Yeah, I think they might be. Because it says they do there is a, like, famous Moravian sunrise service that happens. Yeah, it says there's a famous Moravian sunrise service that happens in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, that has happened every year since 1772, in America,
So
which
so
is
this
crazy.
group from Moravia came over to America, settled in North Carolina, and kept the tradition going.
Yeah,
So this is the origins of their doing it.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude, shout out to Moravians, dude. They just earned a bunch of
Now,
points. I'm gonna look up this like celebration thing. That's really
yeah,
cool.
now I know where John's going to be next Easter.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, they sing hymns, and I I think it's awesome. So, the next year word got out about what these young men did. And the next year everybody's apparently like super excited about it. And
Mhm.
so it says what is he quoting here? I think he's still quoting the diaries. Yeah, he is. The congregation arose at 4 o'clock in the morning and assembled in the saal. Why am I yawning so much? Wake up. Following the hymn, Christ Jesus lay in death's strong bonds, we all proceeded in pairs, with music playing, to the graves of our brethren, sang and played to the glory of our risen Lamb, and rejoiced that he lives, and that we shall live with him, and that death has no power over us. From there we returned after sunrise to the saal, singing as we went.
Beautiful. I love that.
We
That's
don't
a great
normal
celebration.
we don't normally get nice little bows like this in church history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, and then they got to the synagogues and burned them down.
Yes.
So, it
Dude,
has been a really refreshing break from the Crusades,
no, I
honestly.
know. So you did point out that there was some liturgical stuff, but
Mhm.
it would appear that the modern sunrise service is traced back to them.
Which is
So
super cool. Which is really, really cool.
yes, the
And
last
oh no, go
the
ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, here's your last little 1 minute history. Many of you probably sang, as you hear this a few days ago on Easter, you probably sang the hymn, Christ the Lord is risen today.
Mhm.
You know who wrote that?
John Wesley.
Charles Wesley.
Was
But
it Charles
yeah,
Wesley?
well, I mean, they both probably wrote it together. But
They
yeah,
both wrote hymns. Wait, really? Oh, that's
yeah,
freaking
John,
cool. Okay.
John and Charles like co-published their stuff. Maybe,
To be fair, if you ask me any hymn who wrote it, the
that's
answer
your
is
answer.
usually John or Charles Wesley.
So Charles Wesley actually has written my favorite hymn of all time.
Which
Do you
one's
know
that?
what it is?
I was gonna say How Firm a Foundation. That's literally by Martin Luther. No, On Christ the Solid Rock.
It's a Christmas hymn.
Oh Holy Night. No, Oh Holy Night was written in like the 19th
Hark
century.
the herald angels sing.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So that's where that came from. Actually came from his hymns and sacred poems.
Need a little coffee there, big guy?
No, I have had a crazy long day. I need to go to bed.
I'm sorry.
1739. So, okay. And then here's my little final add-on. So Protestant hymns, obviously Martin Luther was writing them, but they really didn't explode until the 18th century, because all the way up to like the 17th century, they didn't even know if they should be singing in church.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay.
Especially among Baptist and separatist groups, especially among them.
Mhm.
Because they just associated singing with like lame high church sort of ritual.
That is interesting. Well, and because like a lot of the hymns, their melodies were taken from like pub songs, right? And
They
I'm
didn't
sure
even
that
care
probably
about
got
that.
some backlash.
No, they didn't even care about that.
Really?
It was literally like the worship service is for the word of God alone.
That's fascinating. Okay. I
Yeah.
would have totally thought there'd be some pearl clutchers who were like, we're not going to sing this song to the tune of Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
That hadn't started yet, from my understanding. I could be completely wrong, so stop asking questions, but we will do a history on hymns one day, I think.
I think a history on just like the progression of worship would be interesting. Like
that's a whole nother series, big dog.
That could be. Yeah. All right. Well, listener, sorry we're a couple days late, but now you're ready and raring for Easter next year. So
That's
make sure
right,
you
which
listen to
is-
this regularly so you don't forget.
And who
any of the
knows
stuff we
when
taught you.
Easter next year is going to be.
Don't ask us.
Yes.
Call your local rabbi.
That's right. So thanks again to our sponsors.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are interested in any of the amazing perks we have, feel free to check out the link on our show notes. But otherwise, we love you guys. We hope you had a beautiful Holy Week, and we look forward to talking to you next time. See you later.
Bye-bye.